big news from Stockholm. Spotify. A few episodes back, we talked about how Apple announced that they are adding Auto Mix to Apple Music, which for certain playlists would try to make the transitions between songs seamless by beat matching and crossfading between them and doing some EQ things automatically. I've had a play with it because Apple Music offered me a free trial, so I thought, why not? I'll have a play with all the new features. So I had a play with it. When it works quite well. When it doesn't, it creates some absolute stinkers.
Yeah.
If, for instance, trying to transition from a Gracie Abrams song into a Scooter song.
I do feel that perhaps a lot of people tend to listen to the same style of music. You and me might be the exception.
Yes, but Spotify have also introduced the concept of mixed playlist, but they've done it interestingly because they have the auto mix option where you could just hit mix on a playlist, and I was having a little play with this earlier. You could just hit mix on a playlist and it would apply automatic.
I've also had to play with this as well.
Yeah, you could hit mix on a playlist and apply automatic transitions between the songs. But what Spotify lets you do that Apple doesn't is it lets you edit those transitions.
Yeah, as you can see on the screen, on the right-hand side there is just a menu where you can have a look at the waveforms.
Yep.
And just kind of adjust them.
Not just waveforms, it'll even detect the beats per minute and give you beat snapping when you drag the tracks.
Oh, that's really cool.
And you can change how it does the transition of the volume, whether it just does a gradual fade or just a cut. You can also, there's a couple different ways that it can do a EQ transition. So a common thing that DJs do when they're mixing from one dance track into another is that at a certain point they swap the bass EQs of the songs, because having the bass channels of two songs going at the same time can create quite a muddy sound. But so what they often do is they'll have one song with the bass down, but with everything else there. And then when they're in transition, they swap them over. Spotify lets you do that, and also lets you add some effect to it. And it will then, once you have customized the transition between these songs, it'll then remember it and use it the next time you listen through that playlist in that order. It is still in beta, so I did have a couple bugs with it, but I think this is a really cool feature, particularly for the sort of more curated playlists, particularly the ones that would benefit from the sort of seamless mixing. For instance, my running playlist, if I can customize the transitions between the songs so that there aren't any jarring gaps, that would be very cool.
I love just the control they're giving to the user as well. It's incredibly good.
Corey, have you had a chance to play with it?
I think the control is a good thing because in my experience, sometimes the auto option is just not great a lot of the time. I don't know, Marks, if you've had a different experience, but I remember one time, I can't remember what song I was going out of, but I was going into an ABBA song, and it just hard cut at the end of one song into the ABBA song about a minute into it.
Yeah, I've not had as much time with Spotify's equivalent as I've had with Apple Music, but it is possible to break the auto, intentionally or unintentionally.
I also had some issues where, obviously, if you shuffle, it'll still try and auto mix between them, but you can't just say, if this song is going into this song, this is how I wanted it to transition.
Yeah.
You can only do it playlist level.
It's very Spotify.
So if you shuffle, it'll just forget it all.
Sorry, it's very playlist based. It's
Yes.
expecting you to listen to several playlists, mix between
order.
them in order, set them up how you like them. I have one playlist. I always shuffle it, and I just skip until I get the one I want. I know it's insane, but it's how I work. So I don't think it would work for me.
I also ran into a fundamental issue with this, which is that I don't normally use playlists. I use the liked songs section as just a dumping ground of over 900 songs that I've listened to in the past 13 years. Mixing is not available for that. Boo hiss.
I mean,
must try harder.
I do the same thing,
it's
except
also
it's a playlist. I have a playlist with about 700 songs that I just shuffle and hope for the best.
See, it's similar for me because I use my on repeat quite a lot as just the playlist I listen to, and it's not available for that, despite the fact you can shuffle and still do mix.
But
also, I would have a weird issue where if I had Spotify open, I was listening to Spotify, I auto-mixed, it was working, and then I go to my home screen, auto-mix would just turn off without telling me. Auto-mix would be really flaky for me, and it would just turn off. I say auto-mix, mixing in general would just turn off and it'd go back to just normally going between the songs.
They have
So
said that it is still in beta, so maybe that'll get fixed.
Yeah, like you said, it's still in beta, so that might get fixed. But like I said, it still seems a little rough around the edges in my experience. But
So that's
a very cool feature.
But that's a very cool feature that I'm sure will have lots of uses. You know what the Spotify feature that I don't understand, that I don't think will have that much use? Direct messages?
So cursed. Like, why are you DMing people on Spotify?
So we tried this earlier.
Yeah.
And to be fair, the experience is that essentially it suggests you with a list of people that I believe you follow or like you have blends in common with.
Yeah.
But basically every message is a message request, I think. Or unless
Yeah,
it might be
it
unless
came-
you follow each other.
When you messaged me, it came up as a message request.
Right.
So I don't know if we follow each other. I'm pretty sure I follow you. I don't know if you follow me.
Probably.
But yeah, it still came up as a message request. I think when Michael, because I tried it with Michael as well, when he messaged me, I think it also came up as a message request, and we definitely follow each other.
Interesting. But yeah, you can send messages, you can share songs and playlists. I don't know if it has image messaging. I don't think it does.
Yeah, I don't
which
think
seems
so.
like which is probably a wise decision.
Probably. It means they have
Yeah.
to do less moderation, I imagine.
Yes, but like I'm just not sure why.
Yeah,
That's
it is a music app. Why do you need to be able to DM people on it?
It reminds me of when YouTube had a chat function. That it shouldn't have.
They're end-to-end encrypted at least.
Are they?
Thank God for that.
Wait, hang on. The messages are end-to-end encryption
In Spotify, yeah.
in Spotify.
Yes.
Right. It's interesting you mentioned that because I literally just opened it to have a look at this, and at the very bottom, if I press this, and then I try and write a message, it says we may review certain messages if they're reported or go against our rules. Does that mean it then it then decrypts them and sends them, or
Must do, because they very clearly
Yeah.
state in their announcement that they are end-to-end encrypted.
right?
so-
Because I'm looking at the small text on a message I'm about to send someone on Spotify, and it does say, I suspect if they are reported.
Oh,
or
sorry,
go
I may
against-
have misspoken. I quote, conversations are protected with industry standard encryption in transit and at rest, but they don't actually use the words end to end.
So they're not end-to-end
Okay.
encrypted.
Okay, never mind
Yeah.
then.
So-
I
Rubbish.
love the idea
that.
that
So
it's
don't
being
use them,
reviewed
use
by
Signal.
someone at Spotify, but still encrypted so that they're just reading gibberish.
What if I'm just sending my mates gibberish though?
Exactly. And rounding out the Spotify announcement, they have announced a feature that people have been asking for literally years. I think nearly a decade.
It ties in with the whole like mixing on the playlist thing. It's for people that just kind of have a style of music. They're very audiophile based.
They're adding lossless streaming.
Exactly.
Finally.
They're finally adding it. It means you can have a lossless
God.
a lossless playlist that you can mix between, have it how you want, and it'll just sound perfect on a sound system.
There's a couple things that are interesting about this. First of all, it's available to all Pro subscribers. It's not a new subscription tier, unlike other providers.
that
for instance,
surprised me.
Yeah.
That's actually
For instance,
good.
Tidal, I believe, has separate subscription tiers for the lossless tier. I've heard a moan from the Tidal user behind the gallery, so I will
Noise
walk back
from
that
Matt.
statement.
The way that it works, just come on.
Our sound
on,
up
Matt.
is now coming on.
Stop with me.
Great.
Our sound guy has arrived to talk about sound.
Yes.
Yeah, that's
so
true.
I think the thing that you might forget with Tidal though is that what Spotify is coming in is the lowest tier of what Tidal has. I think Tidal might have like a really like a generic tier that isn't hi-fi at all, but they then have several tiers for how
Yes.
much quality you do want, and Spotify is coming in at the lowest tier.
Yes, which is 24-bit, 44.1 kilohertz, while the other big providers support up to 24-bit, 192 kilohertz streaming. I will, however, caveat this with, Matt, you're the exception here, so you're not allowed to answer this question. Jamie,
Yes.
do you reckon you could tell the difference between 44.1 kilohertz and 192 kilohertz on a streaming service that you'd use, like
I hope
at
my
home on
employer
headphones?
isn't watching this because I am an AV engineer, but no, I could not.
Purely from listening.
Purely from listening, unless there were very specific boxes that were ticked in my setup, probably not. Let's be honest.
Because to properly take advantage of the higher sampling rates, you would need to have very specific professional tier or listening equipment.
So at work, I might. but not in my own living room.
And so for the average Spotify user, even those who would be interested in a hi-fi tier, I suspect that would apply to them, and those who really do care about getting that pristine quality probably already have a Qobuz subscription.
Yeah, I think that certainly I can tell the difference between the Spotify high quality option and CD
the lossless
quality
option.
Yes. So, I mean, that potentially makes it more interesting for me. However, I've just switched to Apple Music, and so I get the full all the way up to the top. So I'm still not going to go to Spotify.
It's also worth noting that it's not available to everyone yet. Spotify are rolling it out over time in certain countries to certain users, presumably so that they can either see what the uptake of it is and look at and have some kind of actual conclusive statistical data, or to see what the load on their servers would be by everyone enabling it, because they do say that the lossless listening tier could consume up to 1 gigabyte per hour for streaming.
Yeah, so I've just checked and I do not have access to this feature.
Neither do I.
I don't pay for
I don't believe
Spotify.
I do too.
So yeah, it's still being rolled out. We'll see what it's like. There may be an update like we had earlier with other stuff.
Check back next month.